What do you see in Brandin Podziemski?
By the way, here was the answer.
He's got a really good feel for the game. When he's off the ball, he is one of the best defensive players we have on our team. And I know people may not see that, but
He's overperformed his draft status.
Yeah.
I think I can easily argue that. We asked Steve yesterday about social media. He shared a story about him and James Wiseman, said that he quit with James, but thought he would come right back, and then loved life without social media so much that he never came back. And it's funny. You remember this. It was late last year. It happened to Guru too. Our Twitters got hacked. And there's an inconvenience because of what we do for a living, but I do relate to Steve. Like, it took me 24 hours of I feel naked. And then after 24 hours, I'm like, I don't miss this at all.
Yeah.
Your last 24 on Twitter. Go ahead.
It's been an absolute twit storm. It's been a complete twit storm. And, and the station does
show?
It's been a total twit show.
Yeah.
The station does such a great job of repurposing content. And you did a thing yesterday with Steve. We didn't really talk about it, but it was real and raw, and he was honest about, Steve, do you know, I know you're off social media, but do you know what people say? Would you like to hear some of the questions? And you did 2 or 3, and then I thought about the one that, people talk a lot about.
You nailed it.
And
I'm glad you did it.
Do you realize how much the fans don't really agree with the way you play pods? What do you see in Brandin Podziemski?
By the way, here was the answer.
he's got a really good feel for the game. When he's off the ball, he is one of the best defensive players we have on our team. And I know people may not see that, but it's the anticipation. It's, playing on the weak side. It's weak side help. It's being disruptive. It's taking charges. He's one of our best rebounders. 2 straight 15 rebound games last week. And offensively, he's still finding his way. I mean, I talk about it all the time publicly, getting off the ball early in a possession and then getting it back. He generates a lot of shots for us, running through the catch, generating closeouts, and then, all of a sudden we're attacking 5-on-4. He does that better than most of our guys. And for us to generate good shots, he's generally got to be out on the floor more often than not.
Okay, so what happened last night?
What happened was the freaks come out at night. Shout out Houdini. The anti-Kerr crowd came out in full force. Mm-hmm. He is not smart, and I'm going to just paraphrase because the amount of profanity. Kerr's not very smart. And then the Kerr defenders come out against the Kerr offenders. The Pods army, those people who think Pods is trash, and then the Pods defenders come out, and then just lo and behold, Steve Kerr's a racist, and that comes out, and so all the people who don't agree with that notion come out, and so it was like a 4-bout UFC battle on a number of different topics, and of course, I'm added on all of it. And even now, since we've been on the air, I just opened the Twitter, and I've got 18 more mentions, which is a lot for me. I don't do a lot on Twitter. I use it more for a resource, You've got the Bay Area does not like pods. Steve Kerr is the only MFer who enjoys watching this trash play. I started turning sour on pods once he had a horrendous shooting in last year's playoffs. Delusional is real, and Steve Kerr is that pods wouldn't even be on another team, let alone in the rotation for the Warriors. 1,000% Kerr is a great all-caps coach. He's so great that the FO thought he could compete for chips, blah, blah, blah. It goes on. And they're even fighting over the fact that somebody said that he's like a big guard. And, no, he's only 6'3". Really, he's 6'2". Steph is 6'2". We're fighting over everything, and I am dragged right into it. So it's been an absolute twit storm. It's a Twitch show.
The post that the station put out, actually, normally when there's a guest on, you ask them a question, and then they put like a little clip up. Normally the quote, they write a quote above the video of the larger comment that's used to try to like kind of get you interested. They didn't quote Steve Kerr, they quoted you. And the tweet writes, quote, "Fans don't get what you see in pods." And then there's a little laughy emoji. And then it writes, at Dan Dibley, ask Steve Kerr the tough questions on Willard and Dibbs. We're closing in on about 250,000 views on this.
Yeah, and that actually isn't a question, but I think I kind of eventually got to a question. I think I got to.
You did.
What do you see that fans don't see, basically?
Yeah. Like, I actually remember exactly because there were a bunch of things.
I mean, what kind of question is that?
Like, if I just get real for a minute, we do hear from so many of you, and whether we agree or not is not the point. I really did. We went into yesterday, and I'm thinking, okay, how can we sort of touch on some subjects that, well, they might be touchy, but I do think people want to hear what he might say about this. And so that's why I asked him about social media.
Yeah.
Without having any idea that he would give us the story about him and James Wiseman, which was really cool. But I'm like, I know you're not on there. And so let's run through a couple of the things that we see on there and get his reaction. And you hit on pods. We hit on 3 and 4 guard lineups. We hit on the idea of
developing young people.
You don't develop young players, all of that. And then he gave his answers, and predictably people, at least those who say a lot of those things, are not gonna like the answers. But let's focus on yours, because I did think yours hit the biggest sort of like sensitive spot, if you will.
It's a hot button for sure.
All right. So I got to thinking about this today with Brandin Podziemski. And I'm thinking to myself, I can't remember how many times a fan base has felt this way about a homegrown drafted player. I go, has this ever happened? Because those are usually everybody's favorites. In fact, you love them sometimes risking too much. You hang on to them too long because they're homegrown. They're yours. You've watched them grow. And I said this yesterday, whether you think Brandin is solid, sucks, or anywhere in between, I don't really think he deserves to be caught up in this. Like, you're either mad at Steve, there's some sort of connection to Kuminga that you have. Brandin didn't do anything really wrong. Like, I know he said one time, like, he's a little arrogant. Okay, so what? A lot of us are. That's not like some death blow, especially in sports, for crying out loud. So I just think we might be on a track to where the Warriors might need to move him.
We're moving another guy?
I don't know if it's this offseason or next offseason. Do you know how ironic is this? I'm sitting here going, is there any other drafted player that the fan base grew to kind of dislike at this level? And the first name that comes to my mind is actually the guy who drafted Brandin.
Yeah.
Mike Dunleavy Jr. He might be the best comp for the guy that he drafted.
Pretty good. He was taken number 3 overall.
Which is a very different premise because there's expectation there and pressure. And that's not there for whatever Brandin was, 19, 20, whatever it was.
The one I thought about, 2 of them, and now that you're going that far back, Alex Smith would be one. And not only because, Aaron Rodgers late first went on to be a Hall of Famer, but much like Dunleavy, Alex Smith went on to have a good career. Mike Dunleavy played like 15 or 16 years in the association, and that Alex Smith went on to play like 14 years and win playoff games, and he was not good here, but that to me is another comp you could look at of somebody who the fans turned on him early.
I like it, but I think that I remember that conversation, and it very much felt like people just thought, you know what? He's not good enough of a quarterback. He's not good enough of a quarterback. I never heard Alex Smith is a snooty, floppy-headed, and clearly now we're going to start talking about the coach's politics and preferences because he plays him. Do you see what I'm getting at?
I do.
The Alex Smith thing never got personal. It was football. Honestly, do you know what Pods feels like? And yes, it is a social media echo chamber, but in addition to Mike Dunleavy Jr., you want to know the other thing I thought of about Pods? The crazy crab. That's actually how I feel sometimes the fan base feels about Pods. And if you've been around long enough, you remember that the San Francisco Giants Candlestick Days, they introduced a mascot, which in a head-scratching way just completely was absolutely despised upon arrival. People would boo, people would throw things at the crazy crab, at Candlestick, to the point where the Giants were like, you know what? Well, maybe we don't do crazy crab anymore. I'm not saying we're there yet. I do think we're on that track. This is entertainment. You're supposed to like it. And so if you and this is a drafted player who has not really done anything wrong, and I think I can easily argue that he's overperformed his draft status.
Yeah.
I think I can easily argue that.
If you redrafted that draft class, he goes higher than, what was he, 17 or 19?
Whatever it was, late teens. I don't know if the Warriors are going to be able to keep him long term.
It's interesting because this offseason, he is extension eligible.
Yep.
So if you don't extend him, like Moses Moody got 3 years and 39, and nobody really noticed, and you looked at that deal and you thought, yeah, I like what he might be able to become, and Moses is now outperforming his contract. He signed a very team-friendly deal, as luck would have it. If Pod signs a 3-year, $39 million deal, fans will be outraged. And that is
completely.
And he's probably worth more than that based on how he's played. So if he signs a deal for, I don't know, let's say 3 and 55, fans are going to lose their mind.
I think you could stop at the 3. It doesn't even matter how much they pay him. I see it. And I'm going to keep admitting, I don't think you all feel that way. But if you listen to social media, and let's be real, not just social media, our calls, our texts, they're an entertainment entity. You have an audience. If you're a stand-up comic and you keep telling the same joke and no one laughs, stop doing the joke. That's the Warriors are at their core. They're a performance. You're buying tickets to go see this. The goal is to not have people in their uniforms that you don't like and that you roll your eyes when before the shot. I don't even know if the shot's going to go in yet.
Yeah.
Like it happens in my own home. I've told you this. My 19-year-old son is one of these JK Pods connector folks that the second he shoots the ball, it's like, oh, here we go. It might go in. His percentage is fine.
37% for his career, which is 5th in his draft class, by the way. And minutes played, he's 4th in the draft class. And win shares, how much you contribute to winning, he's 4th in the draft class, ahead of Victor Wembanyama, because he hasn't played as much, but he plays winning basketball. And that's where I kind of disagree with your he has to go notion based on fan outrage. I think the organization would look and say, all right, fans, you're going to have to, hold your nose and swallow hard because he's a winning player, and we want winners.
I get it.